Good morning, ladies. I would like to share with you a PowerPoint. So let me pull it up. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Let's see. It's just such a privilege to be part of your journey, as you're part of my journey. So here we go. There's a little bit of computer stuff I have to do here. Okay, I would like to share this PowerPoint with you this morning because I actually was blindsided by something the other day. And I just wanted to say to myself, why are you reacting this way to being blindsided? And I realized because I actually met with my Audrey Meisner, who is, the person that's like one of my biggest mentors. Her husband, Bob, is in one of the videos. And I don't want to be blindsided by my body's physical reaction to something that triggers some trauma of mine. We all have trauma. If we're moms, we have trauma. If we're grown-ups, we have trauma. If we went to kindergarten, we've got trauma. Anyway, I just really wanted to do up a really nice PowerPoint to help you to level up and to reframe and be in charge of your own journey and let other people be a part of their own journey. And when other people behave in a certain way, a lot of times that has more to do with us having a pain point in a type of victim loop. So level up and reframe. So we're leveling up to loving ourselves as great as we can, loving others as good as we can, loving God as much as we can. This is going to be about loving ourselves mainly, and then reframing, seeing our enemies through a new lens, not the old lens, but a new lens. And I have this secondary statement about this PowerPoint: stay out of the victim loop once and for all. So let's face it, if we're truly honest with one another, we're in this estrangement because of a victim loop of some sort that we might not even have known that we were inside of. So let me just go ahead and click to the next one. So I chose a butterfly for this image because a butterfly has an old body, which is, a little inchworm, and they go into a cocoon and they come out free to fly and free to be beautiful and free to be their whole self. And so I was just thinking about our freedom is outside of the victim loop. So the best life is at peace with everyone. It seems like it's impossible, and that doesn't mean that people are all walking around peaceful and wonderful. But what it does is it allows us to realize we have full control of our own responses and our own power to love ourselves and others. Here we are free to live our own lives unencumbered. And that seems very difficult, especially when you're a child because you're under your parents' roof. However, when you're an adult, you can make the decisions to live at peace with yourself, with others, especially with yourself. So let's go here. So try to think of this image here that I got off of pixabay.com images. Think of the victim loop. We do not want to be in the victim loop. We do not want to be in the cycle of you did this, so now I feel this way. You're in charge of the way I feel because you did this. Or I did this, so now you have to feel that way. It goes both ways. So this is what we want to level up into love and get out of, which is the victim loop. So we want to start by getting out of the victim loop. Like if we're blindsided by something, like, before I talked with Audrey, I was blindsided by something that had happened that I was doing, and it was just a wonderful time. But a few years ago, the very same thing that I was doing with somebody that was fun happened, that I found out about. I wasn't a part of, but I'd found out, and it just, all of it all around was just, it was so wrong. Something very good that I'm a part of, that I'm very good at, was shared with others for the sole purpose to, for their benefit, to try to impress, trying to control others. And at the time when that happened, I remember it was 2018 is when that happened. And I'm purposely not giving the details because I really do feel free. But at the time, I was blindsided by how it made me feel having this recall memory. And I remember, though, at the time that it happened, that I'd learned about it. I remember thinking, God, when are you going to protect me? When are you going to do something? And literally, I was driving in the car and I turned the corner, and in the clouds was a fist, just like this, a cloud fist. You know how clouds take shape? And I thought of that verse, I will hold you in my virtuous, victorious right hand. And so now we're in 2024, and I'm recalling that moment when I was like, God, you're going to do something. You know, what they're doing is wrong. I was in the victim loop, and God showed me in a cloud and reminded me, the Holy Spirit within reminded me of that scripture. But then now in 2024, Audrey reminds me that being in the victim loop is the worst thing I can do for myself. Um, it's my fault to stay in the victim loop. It's no one else's fault. It's my fault. And I need to take responsibility for that. And so part of that is to, number one, do not blame others for our attitude, how we feel. And that's a tough one, especially, you know, growing up in the United States. Um, the blame game is so simple to do, but we want to stay out of the victim loop, and we do not want to blame others for the way we feel. Number two, as soon as we start to blame, we are imprisoning ourselves and others. So if somebody treats us in a very unfair way, it's wrong. God sees it. But remember, we don't have to stay in the prison that they've set for us. We can be free. That's their journey. If they want to live in the victim loop, creating a prison for themselves, creating a prison for others, we don't have to be in it. Just be like this butterfly and just fly. So number three, we are responsible for our own mood and our own trauma and our own hurts. That's a hard one because it feels like we can't seem to get our wings. It's almost like, you know, a butterfly when they're still just this little tiny, you know, caterpillar. And before they really turn into a butterfly inside the cocoon, they're trying to get out as they're turning into something new and letting go of their old self. But we can do it. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that in the next couple slides. So we have a choice to get out of our own prison in our mind, in our own mind, and of the victim loop. So get out of your head. So believe this, you're not going to blame others. You're going to get out of your head. You are going to take responsibility for how you respond to others or respond to yourself, because no one can love you better than you, except for God. But sometimes we're so confused with our own hurts and feelings that we forget this. So remember, you have your own journey. You're going to be able to make it through. Other people's journeys are literally none of our business. Audrey Meisner. This is very difficult because, especially as a mom, there's things that you want to do for your child. And once they get older, they really do need to be set free for their own journey. And because of our life experiences, a lot of times we want to shape their journeys in a way where they don't have to deal with the stuff that we dealt with. However, they have to do their own journey. Sometimes it's even sinister. We care more about our image than our own child. And so we really need to let go of that. So try to remember Audrey Meisner, Bob's wife. She is co-owner of lovemarriedlife.com. Her exact quote, other people's journeys are literally none of my business, none of our business. So even us here at the school for moms and estranged mothers and daughters, we're here to help ourselves and to enjoy each other and to rejoice in each other's victories and journeys. Okay, so this is a hard one. This actually says, I'm going to try to move this little, gosh, I don't know how to move it. Okay, so witchcraft is imposing our will on somebody else. So the reason why I brought up witchcraft is because I actually help out with Artists Against Hunger in Africa. And I recently found out that over there, the people that are not Christians that do deal in witchcraft, they will kidnap girls for a sacrifice. They want to sacrifice their girls if they're going to build a building, and they want to use those girls um, as part of the foundation. And it's very sad, but the one way you could keep your girl from being a part of that is to pierce her ears. For whatever reason, they don't want girls that have pierced ears, and they don't take boys. And in our country, if we build a house, we might pray over it or write a little note of blessing, because in our country, we don't do that. And if we do that, it's very secret. Um, but at the same time, witchcraft at the worst form is that. The worst form, it's imposing a will on our own will on someone else, but it's also imposing our will on another person, even in relationships. So have you ever heard, like if you say an off-color joke, it's as bad as the worst kind of harassment of that person, like a sexual harassment joke, it's as bad as raping. Well, think about witchcraft. It can be as bad as in Africa, the children, the girls without their ears being pierced, being sacrificed. But in our circle, it's as bad as us holding a bad thought about wanting somebody to, impose our will on them or for them to have justice. So just drop it. Part of that victim loop is trying to impose our loop on someone, our will on somebody. So drop it. So if we hold a thought against another wishing they will receive justice, I have done this. I really struggle with justice big time. But if we hold a thought against another wishing they will receive justice, that is literally the definition of voodoo. Remember an iceberg? You see the tip of an iceberg. So our tip might be like, oh God, I just hope you give them some justice and they get what they deserve. But underneath is the worst part of even worse, like the child sacrificing of girls with no earrings, or other terrible things that we've heard that now are kind of coming to the forefront. So even us wanting to impose our will is like the tip of the iceberg of voodoo. So just let go of it. We all have spoken ill towards others, but we can catch ourselves and level up to love and get out of the voodoo prison. This is what we want. We want to level up. We want our love for one another to be so strong and so powerful. If you go get a doctorate in counseling of any type, loving yourself and loving others really is the goal. So you don't need a doctorate to do this. But when you decide that you are going to level up and stop speaking ill of another person, think of them as they have their own journey. The people that I wanted justice towards, the people that hurt me while I was in my victim loop, I wanted justice. And then I was almost practicing voodoo. I would say I was not practicing voodoo, but if you think of our bad thoughts as a part of imposing our will on somebody else, then I'm guilty. Okay. Also, the reason we wish ill for someone is our own hurt or pain we have not dealt with. There is a pain point there in us that has nothing to do with the other person. The other person just kind of triggers it. And throughout the book that you ladies have read, there is another book called Your Body Keeps the Score. And I also put your emotions to your body. That is kind of where that pain lies. So let's see here. So for this, I actually put these little children. So these children are a part of, um, they all have their part. Each little girl has their part. The little boy has their part. We need to remember in our pain point, our enemy or the person we're at odds at has triggered that pain point. But we ourselves are most in charge of transforming ourselves. So over here we have the little caterpillar, and see your own transformation. See yourself as transforming. So you're about ready to fly because you're finally recognizing, wow, there's pain there. I need to live my own journey, and I need to set them free and live their own journey. So as we do our own journey is our only business, and we walk our own journey. So here the little butterfly has, my journey is my freedom. So our mom's daughter's journey is their own business. Our journey is our own business. Our journey is our own response and our own developing of our own talents and creativity. We cannot pay for others' hurts, nor can they pay for ours. But we can say, there's a pain here. I need to go back to that child, those children with the butterfly, the caterpillar in the jar. I need to go back there and take responsibility for that pain and forgive that moment. See Jesus there providing for me. Tell my young self that you did the best you can, and look at me now. I can fly. I'm free. Level up with a new frame. An old frame is blaming others, and it does not fit anymore. It doesn't fit who we are. Yeah, we got caught up in this estrangement because we were living life through an old frame, but we do not have to be that old frame. We could be the new frame, how we see others. So a new frame shows others differently. So think about your enemies and think of the things that people did that hurt you when you think of your pain. So the other day when I had a trigger of how I was blindsided in 2018, I needed to really think about the people that were doing that as children needing and being in need of comfort and need of help. What they chose to do was not right. It was very painful. But instead of thinking them as an adults making their own children, just purposely keeping me in the victim loop, if I see them as little children in need of comfort and in need of help, it helps me to focus on my journey and leave them over to the Lord, leave them over to their serenity prayer. I can only fix myself. I can't fix others. It is easy to love a hurting child than a mean adult. That's true. I used to be a preschool teacher, and I had some mean little kids in the preschool classroom, but they were so easy to love. Um, and it was interesting because I was a little bit in the victim loop even back then. From 19 to 20, I was a preschool teacher, and I kind of blame the adults. But really, that was part of the victim loop. And the adults had their journey, the children had their journey. But, I was a young woman, and now I'm older, and I've gone through a lot of stuff on my own. And estrangement in my life experiences has brought me to this moment of having a new frame. So, your enemies, they alone have to walk their journey. And until they get out of their own victim loop, allow them to stay where they choose to stay. This is so hard because as a mom, the last thing you want to do is have your child, or if you're married, your spouse in a loop of victimhood, because you just want to live free. You want to live free with your love. You want to live free with cultivating your talents. You want to live free with the choices you make, no matter what the outcome, just starting to learn, but live in a new frame. See your enemies differently. Put a new story to them. It's so helpful when you find out some of the people that have hurt me. I found out things that happened to them when they were a child, and I'm like, wow, they were incapable of communicating or incapable of helping in an adult situation because the hurt they brought to the table. And, that is just something that it's really good to look at them as a child, because we too were children at one time. And, look at yourself as a child. If somebody hits your pain point or you respond in a pain point, it's really good to just say, oh, this hurting Jodi, this hurting child, and then go back to that moment and see what others did. Look at it. Go into your imagination and remember it. And then say, Jesus, where are you? And, see Jesus putting his hand on you and taking you out of there. Feel how tangible it is. And where somebody had you in a victim loop, God was setting you free and growing you and protecting you because it's all part of your tapestry of who you are. And the pain we've been through can really turn out to be God's glory when we look at how God was there for us. So the new frame, when others hurt us, it is not okay. But no, but now with our new frame, our new glasses, we say, wow, they must be hurting. There is a pain point in them that really hurts. So it feels so good. It just kind of like when I say that, I'm like, oh, they must be hurting. That's their journey. I'm on my journey. That's their choice. And to feel that, just, all that burden of that victim loop have no connection to me. I could just keep walking. So the old frame would say, I want them to pay. But we got to drop the old pain. We got to drop the old. We are new, and we need to remember that. So being blindsided. So being blindsided shows us our own pain to work towards healing. So me being blindsided was a spot of my own pain. But I need to, number one, love my enemies. Number two, your enemies are the biggest instrument in maturing us. I could tell you the biggest victim loop I've ever been in. The people that were arranging that victimhood and I was a part of, they helped me mature so much. I've got all you awesome women and friends, and I just started living my own journey, and I'm so thankful and to be able to love them and hope that they find their journey and because they're still in the victim loop as I'm recording this. Some are not, some are totally free. But it's just incredible to see how your enemy can mature you. Think about it. Judas took Jesus to the cross. None of the other disciples did. And Jesus's biggest work was on the cross, dying on the cross. The day he died on the cross and he was put in that tomb, 2 Peter, can't remember the verse, but it said, look it up. It says that he went down into hell and he talked to the people from Noah's time. Like, hey, this is a better way, not your way. Are you coming or are you staying? So your enemies will help mature you to your greater purpose. Also, make choices on your own. You are free on your own journey. So it's definitely easy to cry and be in pain and feel the lamenting of somebody harming you or hurting you. But remember, you can decide, I'm going to love them. They have their own journey. My journey is not here. So keep moving forward. And perhaps one day they'll join you and they'll be out of the loop and you'll be able to thank them and they'll be able to thank you. So peaceful and calm and tranquility. In our journey, we are free to get to know ourselves. You are free to get to know you. In your journey, sorry, I didn't spell that right. Your journey, you are in charge of your time, your resources, and emotions. You choose your thoughts. You choose how you respond. Here we get to cultivate our talents, grow in our love for God, self, and others. Now, I might have already said this, but I just want to let you guys know with my new reframe and getting out of the victimhood that led to estrangement, not only with my mom side, but my daughter's side, my children's side, my mom and sisters and family. Um, I've cultivated my talents. Writing is a big talent. I didn't really even know I even had it in there. Um, so that's a huge talent. I'm learning violin. It's very hard. I'm not good at it. I wouldn't play for anybody, but I'm cultivating it. I'm learning piano. Not great with piano, but I like it. I'm cultivating it. I'm learning ballroom dancing. I'm very good at ballroom dancing. And I'm just growing in my love for God. I got a master's in divinity during my last 6 years of estrangement. And created these books and been able to journey along with others, including Ronald with Honest Against Hunger, um, to help him grow his ministry there. And as a child, my biggest dream was to help orphans. I used to save my pennies and nickels and put them in the little envelope where you would feed a child for just pennies a day. I remember doing that. It was just something always inside of me. And so now that I'm on my journey, the talents that Jesus, as he was creating me in the womb, touched my fingertips. And he gave these now to me. And now I'm in charge of my own journey. You're in charge of your journey and you have talents. You have creativity. It's time to really kind of just let them start to develop. And you're going to find peacefulness, calm, and tranquility as you cultivate your own talents. So Audrey Meisner, remember our mother and our daughter have their own journey. It is none of our business now that they are adults. So we can definitely, we don't want to be mean and be like, I don't want to know nothing. What's your own journey? I don't want to know about your own journey. But we definitely, if they ask, we definitely can share. But we need to focus on ourselves and we can pray for our children. That's the most important thing that you can do for your child is just to pray for your child, your adult child. But just allow them to find their own way and their own journey. So this is my own reminder. Our journey is our business. We get to choose a new frame or the old one. So it's almost like every time you put on your new frames, you're going to see somebody as a hurting child, or put on the old frames and see somebody that you really want to be punished. And you're going to get back into that, that witchcraft idea of imposing our will on others. So I choose to drop the witchcraft, AKA I drop imposing my own will on others. So live in freedom and peace with everyone.